All right, today we're looking at Ominous Isle. This is part of the Bricklink Designer Series 2 that will ship in November. I was fortunate enough to get a review copy, and so I got to build it. If you checked out the video, there's a build video, and I'm going to repeat a little bit of what I said there, but I'm mostly going to talk about the set in general more so than about the building technique. So if you want to know a little bit more about the building stuff, go ahead and check out that video. This was for sale for $239 here in the U.S., and it had 2,800 pieces, 607 unique parts. And this is just a beauty of a model. I really enjoyed building this. I enjoy looking at it, and I'm going to enjoy getting this worked into my Pirate Bay. If you are a fan of pirates, this is an absolute must-have. And it has all the things you would want in a pirate set. It has a little bit of play features. It has some great detail, some great treasures, and some great kind of rock work and some hide and seek type stuff. And it's just an overall great model. There's so much snot technique that there's hardly any just plain stacking bricks on the outside of this model, and that alone is incredible. It's much less noticeable when you're looking at videos and pictures online, but when you actually see it in person, you really notice that fact that there's nothing stacked like normal, and all the rock work is not just slapped on the side. It is all snot worked into the side wall, and it just makes for a incredible model. All of the extra foliage and stuff just kind of stuck everywhere gives it kind of that hidden, kind of mysterious look, and it's just a fantastic model from that aspect. This is definitely a must-have. I'm so glad that I got one on pre-order day, and I'm even more happy to now have a second one as a basically I'm going to use this for parts eventually once I get my full model, but I can go ahead and start to lay out the designs for my Pirate Bay using this model. So there's so many good things to say about this. You get 5 minifigures, and I'll be honest, that's probably the least exciting part of this whole set. They are not terribly exciting, and a lot of that is due to the constraints within the Bricklink Designer Program. I'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute. But you get 5 figs with it, which is great. You get 2 seagulls, which is amazing, which you can pick up seagulls from Online Pab right now as well. You get an actual working cannon. Gone are the days of the not working cannons. I'm so glad that any cannon that you get nowadays is actually working. And even though the skeleton doesn't count as a minifig, you also get a skeleton. And yeah, so let's talk about kind of some of the things that I don't like about the set. And they are few and very easily changed. So the biggest thing that I don't like about this set is these vine-like things that are stuck on the side on a couple of the models. I just don't think that they match the vibe of the rest of the model. And so that's one of the first things I'm going to pull off and change. And luckily, if you have been following me for a while, you know that foliage is kind of my thing and just something that I love to do. And so that's one of the first things that I'm going to change is get different foliage stuck on the sides because I just don't like the vine thing. I think it looks unfinished in a way. I wish they would have maybe used some like clips or something to kind of clip them onto the vine so that it would be more of a flat leaf rather than a horizontal leaf. Or maybe built some clips or some snot studs into the side of the wall so that you could do it more like the side of the police station did to create that vine coming down the side. But I just think that that's a little bit of a miss as far as that aspect goes. I also do not like the palm trees. I wish that they would have done the mounting mechanism for the palm tree because I like the palm tree itself. I just don't like the way that it attaches to the bases. I think if they would have just attached to the base in a technic way like they did the crow's nest so that it was a solid base, I think that would have been much better. As you can see, actually in my videos here, most of the palm trees are flopped down because they won't stay spun in the upright position. And so I think that's a real miss. Now, the palm trees themselves are great. In fact, I love the way that they kind of created the old palm tree top, that little like 4-prong thing that the old palm trees used to fit into, but in a much more dynamic way so that you could kind of manipulate them and have them at a little bit different angles using a couple of the different pin and angled pins up there. It looks great from that aspect. But it's just the base that really drives me nuts. I think a lot of the criticism that this set is getting is that it's not a pirate ship. And so when people think pirates, they think of pirate ships, or like the Barracuda Bay that came out a couple years ago. That was both an island and also a ship. The 3-in-1 pirate thing that's currently out is a ship, but also could be a building. And so I think when people think about pirates, they think it has to be a ship. And this is very clearly not a ship, nor does it try to be a ship. This is much more reminiscent of the old little pirate sets that you got that were just like the 100 or 200 piece, or even smaller than that, little kind of sets that were with the original pirate theme. I think even to Pirates 2 and Pirates 3 maybe. But definitely the old Pirates 1 and 2. Those little tiny kind of vignettes almost. And it's more in line with those rather than it being this big massive set that's also a ship, or could be an island, or could be a ship. And so I think that that's where some of this criticism comes from, is that it's not that pirate ship. I think that that's why it hasn't done as well as like a castle has done. And the fact of the matter is that Bricklink Designer Program cannot do a ship. And there's a couple reasons for that, but the biggest kind of fundamental piece of the Bricklink Designer Program is that you have to use pieces that are currently in production by Lego and will be in production when that model is released. So when you're designing these, that's like a year and a half out. And so part of that is they also cannot create custom pieces. It has to be pieces that already exist, which is why the minifigs are current torsos, legs, pieces that are in current production. I believe the female pirate's top, I think, is the jazz club singer maybe, or the singer from the Orient Express, I think. But these are all pieces that are currently existing and will be still existing when this is released in November. And so by that same mantra, they cannot do a giant sail because sails are not currently being produced by Lego. And in fact, sails and strings are done by kind of a third party to Lego, and that's not something that the Bricklink Designer Program has access to. And so therefore, we will not get a ship with sails from the Bricklink Designer Program. I think that that's where a lot of people's criticism come from, is that they saw pirates and they expected a pirate ship, and this is not a pirate ship. So as soon as you get it outside of that aspect, I think this is an amazing set. I'm very excited to get this to play opposite of my El Dorado Fortress mock. If you've been following me or watching my other videos, or go back and take a look, I have a double El Dorado Fortress mock that sits on one side of my pirate bay. And then for a long time, I've been thinking about what can I put on the other side of the bay that would be kind of in conflict with the Imperials in the El Dorado Fortress mock. And I was just going to do some pirate ships. I was just going to do some of the little pirate kind of sets, vignettes, maybe a little bit just a pirate, just kind of like dock. And then I saw this, and this was the answer to that. Because I'm not going to go buy a Barracuda Bay, because a Barracuda Bay also kind of fills that same spot as well. But they're ridiculously expensive now. And honestly, if I bought that, I would probably build the ship from it. I don't think I would build the island. I would probably build the actual ship. And so this kind of fills that kind of hole that I think is currently existing in the Lego lineup, especially with El Dorado being out or just recently released. And so I think this plays really well opposite El Dorado. I think the other thing that people get bent out of shape about is that it's not one singular thing. It's not a base plate. It's not something you can just easily pick up, because there's all these different little modules, and the modules don't connect in a pick-upable way. It's not like Eldorado where there's a bunch of different modules, but you all clip them together and they all stay together as one solid thing. Now, would I pick up Eldorado just like that? No, I would not. But it all clips together to make one solid model. This is not one solid model. This is several individual modules that come together to make one giant set. And so I think that people have a little bit of an issue trying to extrapolate that. I don't know if that's the right word or term or not. But I think that that's where some of the other kind of complaints come from, is that it's not one model. And if you're just sitting this on the shelf, you're going to need a pretty deep shelf, first off, or wide shelf to get them all kind of in a line. And so unless you have something like a pirate display or a pirate bay, like I do, I think it might be a little hard to see why you would want something that is so easily transformed into different configurations. And I don't think that it was promoted in a way that gave light to that. I think this is true of a lot of the Bricklink Designer sets, is that they are not presented in a way that they fit in with other stuff. Like when Lego releases a set, they will release images of the set by itself, but then also usually mixed in with other Lego sets, especially something like a modular. You get to see the recent couple like modulars sitting around it. And I even think, I could be wrong about this, I'm almost hesitant to not say this, but I think Eldorado, I think they showed like the old Eldorado mock with it, or they showed the Pirates of Barracuda Bay with it. So you like get a little context with that when Lego promotes a set. You don't necessarily get that from any of these Bricklink Designer sets. Now, some of them are very obvious, like the castle that's about to ship. Like that is very obviously goes with the castle stuff and can be mixed in with all your other castle stuff. Or the modulars that come out of the Bricklink Designer program. Like it's very obvious to know how those fit into something. Or like the little tiny like the mushroom house from this series. Like that's obviously a shelf thing that you're gonna sit on your shelf and you can kind of play with. Has some play features and stuff. But it's just kind of a pretty, mostly self-contained model with a little bit of extras that you can kind of move around a little bit to make a little scene. This feels different than those things. This is not a one solid model. This is not a main model with a little piece extra that you can move around to kind of set a scene. This whole entire set kind of makes a scene. And so I don't think it was promoted very well in a way that kind of showcased that. I think it being set opposite of Eldorado Fortress would have definitely gone a long way to kind of show not only the size, but kind of like the possibilities. Or maybe pulled in another pirate ship with it that just to kind of show you how a pirate ship would pull up to Omnis Isle or whatever. And so I think I think that it was hyped up prior to release as something that it wasn't, and that it is something that is unusual and unique, at least as far as I've seen. Now, I think we'll see this a little bit later on in the Bricklink Designer program, where there's a medieval set or like a castle type set where there's a bunch of little individual pieces. But again, that makes very sense because people probably have castle displays and they need these little modules to kind of fill out the castle display. Again, I think this is kind of that same concept, but it's a little more esoteric than castle plus pieces. So that's kind of my rant about some of the publicity and negative reviews that this set has gotten, because I don't think it's deserving of that. Okay, so to wrap up, I absolutely love this set. This set is what spurred on me to kind of change up originally the design of the Pirate Bay, and then ultimately when I found out I was getting a second copy, the decision to make the Pirate Bay even bigger. And so I'm excited to work this into my city and into my Pirate Bay design. So all that's coming very soon. So make sure you like and subscribe to stay tuned to see what I end up doing with it. And I'm definitely going to do a video very soon to kind of describe what my plans are with this current set and what my plans are with the second set that's coming, because honestly, because this is not a complete set, because I got it, and then again, if you watch the build video, you get that whole story. But this is probably going to become the parts type set, and the official one will be the fully built set that will leave mostly as is. And so I'm definitely looking forward to kind of working through that in very soon. So thank you for watching, and see y'all later.